There you go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is Carlene Bijandai coming to you from ETTWomen, North Jersey. Today we have Tina Paymaster, who will be gracing her presence and giving us a great presentation. Before we start, I want to remind you of our mission. Our mission is to connect like-minded women to network with intention, build relationships, learn from, and support each other. We have 3 memberships, 360, 180, and 90. The 360 and 180 membership, which are in-person memberships, in both cases, you can attend all meetings with no extra cost, have access to Facebook group and accountability, speaking opportunities, PR opportunities, and more. And with the 360 membership, you get the additional benefit of getting monthly private coaching from our ETTWomen founders, Vanessa Coppes and Lynette Barbieri. The 90 membership is virtual only, and you get access to the Facebook group and accountability. We have one more upcoming event, and that's the ETTWomen's Ugly Sweater celebration for the holidays at the Bella Vista Country Club. Admission is $65, and we look forward to seeing you. Now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Tina Paymaster. Tina Paymaster is a certified health and lifestyle coach and EFT practitioner who helps her clients break through the self-defeating beliefs and behaviors, keeping them from experiencing the health and happiness they desire. Tina's work focuses on healing the mind, body, and soul through nutrition, meditation, EFT, and various other practices. Her mission is to inspire others around the world to reconnect to their true selves, reclaim their health and happiness, stop settling, and start living. Tina has been featured in Shape, Mind Body Green, She Knows, and Elephant Journal. She currently works with private clients around the country and hosts live speaking events and workshops. You can learn more about Tina at www.tinapaymaster.com. Tina?
Thank you. All right, let's see. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I am here. Hopefully you guys can see me. We do have a group here, so I will probably be looking a little bit past the screen. This is exciting. Virtual and in person. Yay!
Just threw you right out
I know. Vanessa seems to do that to me every time I can speak for ETT. I love it. Technology. So first of all, I want to thank ETT for having me again. I absolutely love you guys, and I do have a very special offer to be sharing with you at the end. I guess I don't have to introduce myself because you did such a wonderful job doing that. So what I'd first love to start with is asking you guys, have any of you ever woken up and thought, what did I do last night? I think most of us can say we've had that moment, right? Yeah. So I remember sitting in a hotel room about 4 years ago, thinking that exact same thought. What did I do last night? The story could probably go a lot of different ways right now, you're thinking. So I remember actually showing up to my best friend's wedding the day before with my boyfriend at the time. And I was sitting here in the hotel room by myself. And I was literally thinking, what happened last night? So I didn't have to think too long because the memories came flooding back into my mind, kind of like an avalanche coming down a mountain, super quick. So I remember showing up to my best friend's wedding. I was one of her bridesmaids. Really exciting. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love weddings. It's this day of love and union and romance with my boyfriend. I remember being very excited for the reception because everyone loves the reception. You know, nobody really likes the ceremony. And I remember sitting there feeling neglected by my boyfriend yet again. And then I remember an exchange of words that we had yet again. And next thing I know, the rest of the evening is unfolding in my memory, kind of like a silent movie and fast forward. I remember us being at the table, then outside in the hallway, then outside of the building, then back inside. Then by the bar in the corner of the dance floor, pushing, yelling, shoving, screaming, silence. In that hotel room the next morning, literally was just dead silence. And the sound of my heart pounding in my chest and just the echoes of the night before. And it was in that moment that I felt this sense of discomfort that I've honestly never felt before. And the only way I can explain it was that I literally wanted to jump out of my body. I wanted to jump out of my body, run away, and never come back. Because I honestly felt so trapped in the life that I continuously kept experiencing. And I didn't know what to do about it. And in that moment, the thoughts started occurring to me that this wasn't supposed to be my life. This wasn't supposed to be how my life was supposed to unfold. I wanted so much more. And I started to feel the depression that I went through in my early 20s creeping back in, seeping back into my soul. The hopelessness got heavier and heavier. The sadness got stronger and stronger. And the pain in my heart got stronger and stronger. And I started to hear the normal dialogue that always played in my head start coming up again. You're not worth it. You're pathetic. No one's ever going to love you. Why even try? No wonder he left. And this was a huge turning point for me because as that dialogue started playing, another dialogue came in where I started to think, well, what's the point anymore? I started to contemplate taking my own life in that moment. A familiar thought that I had so many times before. And in that moment of silence in that hotel room, I heard a voice that literally saved my life. And this voice whispered so gently to me and literally said, Tina, stop. Things can change. I heard it so clearly. Things can change. Your life can change. But you have to stop looking outside of yourself. And in that moment, it felt like it just happened so fast. In that moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. Which I'll get to. But you see, for most of my life, I struggled with feeling loved. I struggled with feeling happy. I always felt like the least favorite daughter when it came to my parents. I have two sisters, an older sister and a younger sister, who I'm now extremely close to. I'm the middle child syndrome, actually. And actually, I always felt like the least favorite sister as well. When it came to my friendships, I really struggled feeling truly accepted and safe and secure in them. I had what I call the chameleon complex. I always shifted in, who I was and what I believed in to just please my friends because that's what I thought I had to do. And then when it came to my relationships, that was a disaster too. I struggled with feeling unloved and unwanted in most of my relationships. And my thought was that, well, if it was so hard for me to feel happy, right, for me to feel okay, it must be because I didn't deserve it. It must be because I had bad luck or I was a bad person. Or if there was a God, like my mother always told me there was, then he or she sure didn't like me. Or then the thought was, maybe I did something really wrong in a past life and now I was paying for it. Literally, these are the thoughts that I would have over and over again. But I didn't know if I even believed in past lives. This is all things that came about with, religion and spirituality, something that I actually never connected with. I never understood how any of that could really help somebody. I loved reading about religion and spirituality. I thought they were beautiful stories, but that's all they were to me, stories. This hocus pocus mythology. I never knew how it could actually help. I didn't know until I heard that higher guidance that day in that hotel room, and my journey with spirituality, aka my spirit, really began. So I have my notes here because there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. So the voice that I heard wasn't some hallucination. So I did drink a lot the night before. This was 4 years ago. So some people might say, listen, you were just in your own world. It would make sense. But this voice wasn't. This voice was my voice, my true voice, my spirit, my intuition. And I 100% do believe that. It's the voice that each and every one of us have within ourselves, but we're not taught to listen to. But it's the only voice, and we learn to listen to it, can actually guide us to where we want to be in our work, in our career, in our relationships, in our health. The reason that we struggle is that we're constantly looking for the answers to our happiness and success and health and all of that stuff in all the wrong places. The right man, right woman, the right amount of income, the specific number on the scale, right? We're taught that that's where happiness exists. So we're constantly on this search, but even when we get it, it doesn't quite fulfill us, or we never reach there. So we feel empty, and then we end up looking for happiness in other places, such as alcohol or food or other things, right? Drugs, whatever it may be, which I did for most of my life. So here's a little secret that you've probably heard before, but we've been doing it backwards. And I learned this after a long time. But happiness actually doesn't come when you get those things. What I learned is that those things are a result of being happy now. So some people, the reason that's so challenging is that most of us don't even understand that concept, which I didn't, because I was told and I learned that things make you happy, experiences make you happy. When you achieve things, you deserve to be happy. So you may be asking, okay, how do you do that? How do you become happy now if you don't have the things that you want, if you haven't reached the success, the health, the relationships that you want? You have to connect back to your true self, and I'm going to explain what that means in a minute. And there's a kind of a 3-step process in doing that. Number 1, you have to release the limiting beliefs and the stories that you've been telling yourself for so long. Number 2, you have to rewrite your story. Rewrite the story from your past and create and write the story that you're living now and that you want to create. And then third step is repeat. Gratitude practices, specific practices, daily practices every single day. Because here's the thing, there's always going to be challenges that you experience in your life, and you don't have these practices in place, you're going to get knocked down. You're not going to be able to keep up with the motivation and confidence that you want. So what I'm talking about today is lasting health, right? Lasting health comes from when you have that continuous motivation and that confidence to keep going. So this 3-step process is going to help you get there. When you can do this, you will realize that everything that happened to you, everything that is happening to you, is actually helping you achieve everything that you want to happen for you. And that might seem kind of crazy, but after all of the emotional drinking that I went through, the depression, the nights crying, the fights, the pain, the universe was actually on my side the entire time, and I know that now. I was being given signs one after the other that I had the power to change the course of my life, but I chose not to listen. I walked with blinders over my eye, cups over my ears, and just hoped that everything would just magically get better, right? But it didn't. And when things got so bad, I would stuff down my emotions with alcohol, with food, and with self-criticism. And I started to experience debilitating anxiety. My depression got worse. It actually turned into uncontrollable anger at times. I experienced digestive issues, skin issues, mind, body, soul issues. So you would think that, okay, if the universe is on your side, it would have gone easy on me, but it didn't. Nope. It just got louder and louder and louder until I literally felt like the wind was knocked out of me. But I woke up, and that's what I needed. So a week after my best friend's wedding, I immediately enrolled in Buddhist meditation classes. And it was there, and I want to share these with you. I learned 5 important life lessons that dramatically changed the level of health, confidence, and happiness that I experienced. The first one was awareness. Through awareness, I really learned to see my life from the lens of objectivity, through truth and through love, as opposed to judgment, fear, and hopelessness. This I really want to share with you. I learned 2 important, really important parts here, is that it's not what happens to you that creates how you feel, okay? It's how you choose to react to what happens to you. And it's not what happened to you that affects what you're capable of. It's actually the stories that you decide to create each and every day, because every day is a new day. Lesson number 1, awareness. Lesson number 2 was acceptance. I learned to accept myself. I learned to accept the decisions that I made in the past. And this is huge because we experience so much shame and guilt over the things that we've done, right? We're just kind of talking about this. I feel awful about something I did. I learned acceptance. And I learned to accept myself for everything that I was rather than everything that I wasn't. And that actually helped me accept other people in the same way. So I was able to release a lot of the anxiety, the shame, and the guilt that I continuously felt. Through compassion, lesson number 3, I learned to have more compassion towards myself and towards others. Instead of, people are always going to piss you off. That's just the reality of the situation. But I started to see people for who they truly were, which is honestly at our core, we are all loving, compassionate human beings. And know, especially right now with what happened, this is a very difficult concept to grasp. Even I have trouble sometimes doing it. But really that's what we are. When we react otherwise is because there's some suffering or miscommunication going on in our heads. And the reason why compassion and learning it was so important to me is because, I live in New York City, and you can get pissed off every day in New York City. Someone's going to shove into you, bump into you. But I really learned that happens in New Jersey too. But I did learn to look at other people with more compassion and understanding and love, and that allowed me to look at myself in the same way. Because people really don't mean to do those things. So when we can do that, you will change the way you actually perceive the world around you. You won't take things so personally either, which is amazing. After compassion is forgiveness. This is huge, and I really, really encourage any of you guys, if you're having trouble with this, it's one of the best practices that you can do for yourself. It's not about other people, forgiveness. It's a common misconception. Forgiveness has to do with releasing ourselves from the grip that anger and resentment have on us. So when I was able to forgive people and forgive myself, I created space, literally space in my life to invite more positive opportunities and people into it. And then lastly was responsibility, the fifth lesson. Really just taking 100% full responsibility for my life. Above all, what I learned through this process was that I was and always had been in control of my life. And I know if anybody's going through certain things, if with your health or relationships or career, whatever it may be, family, things are not working out, it's a really empowering thing to understand that you always are in control of your life. And the reason this is that the reality in which you are living is the exact reality that we've created through our thoughts, our beliefs, and our perceptions, and our actions. Now this might seem like now we have to get to blaming ourselves, right? So we often might think, okay, that my habits around eating or my habits around working are my fault now, the things that are sabotaging me. But actually, it's subconscious programming. Do any of you guys know about subconscious programming when I say that? Okay. So it's a familiar thing, right? From the ages, for those of you that don't, I'm just going to explain it really quickly. Basically, when you were born, you came in as a blank slate, right? Only thing you actually knew was love. That's all you felt. And there was no boundaries to what you could do, what you believed in. The world was your oyster, right? And you could create and be whoever you wanted to be. From about 0, or when you were born, to 7, you started downloading data, creating your identity and how you perceive the world, what's right, what's wrong, what's acceptable and not acceptable. And then you started to mimic those behaviors and kind of lose your way and get farther and farther and farther away from who you truly were. And then what happens is, because we want to feel love, we continuously measure ourselves against those standards. When we don't reach it, that's when we cause suffering, right? Now, the thing is that the great thing is that your mind, if it had the power to create a lot of the bad things that are happening in our lives, it actually has the power to release you too. And I'm going to share with you 3 techniques coming up that are going to show you how to do that. So through my journey healing, basically my mind, body, and my soul, I learned and I discovered who I truly was, which I never knew. Some people say, oh, find your way back to your true self. I don't even know if I ever knew who she was. I learned and finally found that compassion and love and happiness within myself, which is another thing people always say, oh, the happiness within yourself. And I rolled my eyes. I was like, I don't understand, until I actually felt it. And I learned that I had the power to create the life that I want, which each and every one of you do too. So if you're suffering or struggling in any area of your life, know that you do. Because of this, because I went through the journey, I've been able to create and maintain healthy relationships with my mind, with food, with my body, and with other people. Not just with, the things that I'm with other people. I've been able to stay motivated despite fear, despite obstacles. Challenges don't really set me back anymore. They're scary, we all have them. But if I get knocked down, I bounce back much quicker, and they don't feel as bad. This next one is really empowering, because I used to always base my life and my decisions upon what other people thought. I don't really do that anymore because I stand in my truth and I know my truth. So those things are really important. So I want you to ask yourself something right now. 3 questions. Do you see in any area of your life, if you were to think about it now, negative patterns that continuously keep emerging, outcomes that continuously keep emerging in any area of your life? We all can probably see that, right? Second question is, do you find yourself either blaming yourself or blaming other people because of it? Okay? Just hold these thoughts and we'll kind of get to it at the end. And then number 3, or do you find yourself always thinking about what the worst thing that could happen is? Yeah, right? Raise a hand. Always going to worst case scenario. So for me, the patterns that kept showing up in my life were honestly a pattern of unhealthy relationships and unhealthy habits around those relationships. But fast forward 4 years later, this is what I know and I want to share with you, is that the things that continuously show up in our lives are not there to bruise us or break us or to show us that we have bad luck. They're called to action. So I want you to think about that. They're not there to hurt you. They're called to action, to wake up and be more aware of what's happening and see where you can step in and take responsibility. Your pain, any suffering that you're experiencing is actually your power. So if you're struggling with your health, if you're struggling with your career, any of those things, okay, with how you're feeling on a daily basis, your pain is actually your source of power. We need challenges in our life. I know this may sound crazy, but unless we're challenged, we don't have an opportunity to rise beyond our fears and to experience just how strong and brilliant and amazing we are. So we lost our way, and challenges are the thing that actually help us get back to who we are. And they push us if you can look at for the opportunities and the lessons in them. And lastly, this is a good one. The path that you think you need to take to get to where you want to be is not always the one that's best for you. So always know this, is that basically whenever you make a plan, I would say 95% of the perfect plan you have in your head never works out that way. We're just talking about the conference, right? So, there's always going to be glitches. And here's the thing. In those moments, those are prime moments to turn your fear into faith and just trust that the universe knows best and get yourself out of there and be more proactive. So know that for whatever reason it may be, the path that we think we need to take is not always the one that we need to take. Here's the thing though, if you're anything like I used to be, it's all too easy to throw your hands up in the air and say change is too hard, it takes too much time, whatever it may be, I don't have any time, and just settle, right? Because for many of us, we're waiting for things to get so bad until we have to make that change. And to be honest, change takes work, right? It's really hard work. But that's why so many people give up. But when you do give up, if you're feeling that way about any area of your life, ask yourself, what am I giving up on? Ask yourself, who am I giving up on? Okay? Because that's really, when I was asked that question, I was like, oh, shoot, right? Like, maybe if some other words came out, but it's really like when you don't want to rise above, you're giving up on a life that you truly want and on your potential to be the woman that you really want. I'm assuming it's just women on this, so I'm going to say women. So here's the thing, we're given these light bulb moments, and many of you, I want to ask, are any of you getting those right now? These kind of like red flags, light bulb moments that are being like, wake up, wake up. I mean, we get those every day, right? But we refuse to change. And it could be, like I said, because we're waiting for things to get so bad. It could be because we're afraid of failure, because somebody told us that failure is a bad thing. And so better stay safe and just stay where you are. Fear, absolutely. Fear of failure, right? Fear of the unpredictable. Fear of the unknown. Right? Of the unknown.
Certainty, I feel, is something that really kills.
So here's,
I don't know. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you guys heard that. Vanessa saying uncertainty can really kill motivation. So I want you to think this instead. Instead of uncertainty, think limitless possibilities. Okay? It's really changing perception that will open up a whole new world for you. Now, if you were like me, you didn't change because you were hoping that somebody would come in on their white horse and save you, and then everything was going to be great. I mean, I lived in a romantic movie my entire life, okay? And then everything was going to be okay, and, you could go on and the world would just, work out. But do I believe in fairy tales? I absolutely do believe in fairy tales. I do. I'm a hopeless romantic. but it doesn't work out that way. What I discovered is that there is a hero in each one of our stories. And I realized that it is, and always will be ourselves. We are the heroes in our stories. We can have a happy ending, but it starts and has to start with a happy beginning. And I don't mean, okay, if you had a crappy beginning back when you were younger or even yesterday. I mean beginning like today. Every day is a new beginning. So that's the importance of happiness. So I want to dive deeper now into that 3-step process, right? How do you get there? How do you create the happy beginning? So hopefully you guys can still hear me. There's some blenders going on here. I'll try to speak a little bit louder. I'm moving a little bit closer to the screen. We're going to take a 2-second pause. Gather your thoughts, get some paper to take some notes. Okay, hopefully we're in the clear right now. All right, so let's get into really the crux of this. What I want to share with you, 3 things that dramatically changed my life, the 3-step process, right? To finding that true happiness within you that's going to help you on your path to emotional freedom and lasting health. Because when you're happy, you naturally take care of yourself. People think it's something that's outside of us to actually take care of ourselves and make good decisions. It's not. That's who we are. You know, think about animals. They instinctively take care of themselves. We are the same, except we have something, I learned this, called free will. And so we use it to sabotage ourselves. Yeah. So once again, a reminder, 3-step process here. Release the limiting beliefs, rewrite your stories, and repeat, repeat, repeat daily practices. So the first one, release limiting beliefs. We talked a bit about subconscious programming, right? Did you know that 95% of what you do is actually subconscious? So these are, like I said, these are based on the information you downloaded, what you observed as a child, how you perceive the world, what you believe about yourself. So I want you to think for a moment, if you're struggling in any area, can you connect it back to what you experienced when you were a child? Does it sound like your mother or your father or something somebody told you? It can also, so limiting beliefs is one thing that can happen about yourself and your ability in the world. Also trauma. If you experience any sort of emotional, physical trauma, that's going to get programmed really quickly into your subconscious. So your subconscious, if it controls 95%, can be your best friend or your worst enemy, right? So one of the most amazing techniques that I've experienced and I've learned and now use with my clients is called EFT. Aren't you familiar with EFT? For those of you that aren't, it's called the emotional freedom technique, or some people call it tapping. It's some people also refer to it as psychological acupressure. I'm going to briefly explain how this works. Basically, our emotions run on this energy system through our body. And that's what Chinese acupuncture is based on, these energy meridians in our body, right? To rebalance it, to make you feel better physically, mentally, emotionally. When our energy is flowing freely, we feel positive, we feel good, we feel energetic. Even if we experience negative emotion, we move through it, right? So the point is not to never experience negativity, it's how we choose to react to it. When we continuously experience negative emotions, limiting beliefs, fear, anxiety, physical symptoms, it's because there's a blockage in our energy system. So essentially how EFT works is that it literally, you get to the bottom of what's blocking you, the actual cause, and you can literally release it like on command. And how it does it is that you tap on certain points on your face and on, people can see, on your upper body and some on your hand. These are the energy centers where these meridians come together, okay? It's the same points that acupuncture uses. And you basically repeat certain phrases about what you're feeling, about trauma that you experienced. And you can literally release the effect that that has on you. Because as we talked about, fear is what holds you back, right? The limiting beliefs is what holds you back. If you experience some sort of trauma, you probably have a lot of blocked energy in your body. And this is why we continuously make unhealthy decisions, negative decisions, and I hear this so much from my clients. I know I should be doing this, but I'm not doing it, right? It's not aligned. So what EFT with tapping can do is it can literally release those blockages. And I've experienced it myself and use it with clients. The problem is that when that energy blockage starts accumulating, you're going to experience things, like I said, fear, anxiety, worry, fatigue, low motivation, low self-confidence. You'll also experience something as severe as arthritis and illnesses, diabetes. It's all literally related. When your energy is flowing freely, your body's like in a balanced state, right? Now, when you can release that blocked energy, and if we have time, I can even show you guys a little bit of EFT, which is fun. when we release the blocked energy, I've used it with clients on food cravings, literally knocked out food cravings like this. I had a client. Yes. No, let me tell you the story really quickly. Okay. I had a client that I was working with her, and she failed to tell me until about 3 months into our time together that she had a Diet Coke addiction. Like, she was drinking 3 to 4 a day. Wow. So I was like, well, this is I'm not saying you can never have it, but this might not be so good. So I used EFT with her, and literally the next week she's like, Tina, I didn't have 1 Diet Coke. And then she's like, you know what, actually, I did have 1 Diet Coke, and I didn't even like it. I don't even know why I was drinking it. And she hasn't barely touched, like literally every now and then, maybe once or twice a month has it now. And addiction, I've used this with so many clients. When I first experienced it, it was a chocolate cake. It's always chocolate for me. And it always is, right? And here's the thing, with EFT, it's not that it's going to make you hate what you're eating or you're never going to have it again. It just allows you to have choice, make a conscious choice. That's what we want, right? So it can help with food cravings, emotional eating, depression. My same client, years of depression. She's a changed woman right now. She actually, just lost a very close family member to her, and I was really worried that she was going to fall right back in there, because what's more traumatic than that, right? She is so strong and positive, and it's the most amazing thing that I've seen. I mean, that's dramatic change for a woman that literally would call me crying every day. So what else can it help? Physical pain, like I said, allergies. I mean, you name it, PTSD, phobias, fear, limiting beliefs, you name it. So that's the first thing, releasing the limiting beliefs. Think about if you could literally just pick up, identify what's really blocking you and turn it off on purpose. And that's what EFT does. It's amazing. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you is... we have a birthday going on here too, so one thing after the other. The next thing that I want to share with you is rewriting your stories. This is important. So when you start to release the limiting beliefs, you're going to start to see that the things that happened to you in the past, naturally, they weren't there to hurt you. You're going to start having so much more awareness about those things, okay? So you'll naturally start rewriting your stories. The reason that we have so much fear moving forward is because of something that happened in the past, most likely. So when you bring more awareness, you start to rewrite your stories. And if you're not, I want you to think about the things that happened in your past and really see, well, how did it help me? What can I learn from it? And then when you can pick things up, start to practice gratitude towards those experiences, because you will rise above them and they won't define you anymore. And the next part about rewriting your story is really writing the story that you want to be living now. And one practice that I love to use is visualization. So a really powerful one is to think about the woman that you want to be, right? Think about the life she's living, how she's feeling in her body, everything. And I like to do this in the morning after my meditation and literally just get in like that mode, in that energy, okay? And feel how she feels, and then bring her energy. When you start doing that on a regular basis, you will naturally actually start bringing that energy into your life. You will start creating a new story and rewriting your story right now. And then the last part about this is repeat, repeat, repeat daily practices. So what I mean by that is, how many of you have a morning routine like that helps you settle in? Does anybody want to share what they do in the morning? I'm sure you, what's your morning routine?
I jump out of bed, pray, meditate, and do a crazy 20 minutes of training.
Amazing. Any other morning routines? Do some people struggle with morning routines?
I have coffee. Like, I can't do anything without having my coffee.
Okay.
But then I proceed to journal.
Mm-hmm.
Then I pray.
Yeah.
Because I feel like journaling,
Yeah.
everything is like releasing to it. Then I pray. I do meditate, and then it's like I have children. But those. I would say 45 minutes to an hour. That first hour is like it can't be disturbed. And if it is, the day doesn't go about the same way.
Exactly. Oh, totally. Yeah, I realize the days that I don't meditate in the morning, I'm extremely irritable, actually. Really irritable. So I want to bring this up, and whatever it is for you in the morning, really start to realize the importance of your morning routine, because that is a time before anything else gets in your way. Also, whether it's prayer or sitting out in nature or meditation, I do believe in meditation or prayer because it actually de-stresses your nervous system. Everything you experienced from the day before, it helps to de-stress it, which you want when you're starting a new day. So
is it good to meditate in the morning? Also, because what I do tend to do is try to meditate at night also.
So it depends the type of meditation you're doing. Because there's certain types of meditation, like the one that I do, that actually gives you more energy. So you don't want to do it right before you go to sleep. So I do a type of meditation that's 20 minutes twice a day. It's first thing in the morning and then usually right before dinner. So it really depends on the type of meditation. But I definitely do recommend doing it in the morning.
It's interesting that you say that because when I started like actively journaling, like I made it a point to do it every night. I found that I couldn't do it at night. It stressed me to do it at night because it became a chore. Like when I was ready for bed, I was ready to go to sleep. I wasn't ready to remember what happened during the day. In the morning, though, I was able to fresh day, restart, like reboot, and like okay. And the approach of it was completely different than when I would do it at night. So you might have to find, what that serves.
Like in the morning, I don't have my water. Hot water with lemon. I'll say my affirmations. That's good for the But I find that when I take a shower, and then after I say my affirmations, that's when my brain gets going. And I start, with my life to do, what I have to cover, and the thoughts for the day. And then later, when after I do my exercise, then I take my shower. I find like after a shower, I feel like I'm like rejuvenated, and more things come together.
You'll find that you're much healthier, you're much happier, and you're much more focused. People get intimidated because they think they need you for 20 minutes or an hour. Start with 5 minutes. Give yourself that time. I have clients right now that I'm literally starting with
That's a misconception about meditation, prayer, anything.
It has to take forever.
I've heard Brett Chopra saying like, you can meditate for 4 hours straight. I'm like, dude, of course, this is Brett Chopra.
Yeah.
I think you're the only person who can actually do that. But yeah, 5 minutes.
Well, the thing is, when you start to do it, you'll find yourself wanting to extend the time more and more because you realize how amazing it feels to give yourself that precious time. It's beneficial on so many levels. I could do an entire talk about meditation, which I'm not going to do right now. But so the daily practices is really important because, as I mentioned, as you release the limiting beliefs, you start to feel more like yourself. You start to feel more hopeful because you're rewriting your story. You're embodying the person you want to be. And then life gets in the way, right? So if you don't have daily practices in place, you're going to fall off. That's where, the healthy habits fall off because you don't have almost this foundation. So I definitely recommend, I personally recommend some type of meditation or prayer. And then also gratitude. It's an amazing daily practice. It's a practice that's going to immediately raise your vibration. And just quickly about vibration, I don't think I touched on this, but I'm sure many of you know, is this whole law of attraction. I think I touched on it the last talk that I did. Like attracts like. So if you're finding yourself feeling drained and depressed and fearful and anxious, gratitude is actually one of, the highest vibrations out there. Literally just sit there and say in your head, like 10 things you're grateful for. I'm actually doing a gratitude challenge right now, that every morning I'm just setting my phone for a minute and I'm just writing everything I'm grateful for. And it's amazing. So I highly recommend that. And this is the last thing I want to share in the daily practices. How many of you go to events, read books? I'm going to raise my hand already. And you get so inspired and you're like, I'm going to do all these things. And you go home and like nothing happens.
This came off our conference.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we asked all of our speakers and people who we workshop with, because that's a great mistake. Like we all come with it. Get up. We're on this conference high, right? Inspiration high, and so said this, and oh my God, it compels me to give me this great idea. But then what do I do with all of the information? How do I actually put that into practice?
So in case you didn't hear, Vanessa was saying you get really overwhelmed with all the information. How am I going to put this into practice? So I'm going to talk about that, but in just a little bit. But what I want to say is this amazing formula. Okay, it's called the I Am formula. Have you heard of the I Am formula?
Oh, we did something similar, but
okay. Go ahead. So the I stands for intention. This is what you want and why you want it. It's very important to be clear on what you want. So if you haven't done that yet, that's the first part of the formula. The next part is the A, which is aligned action. So this is where, doing the work to release the limiting beliefs. If you don't know how to do it, work with somebody that does. Take actions every day, daily practices, like I said, that's going to help you raise your vibration. Also, when you do that, you know, so many clients come to me and they're like, I'm losing motivation. So what's your foundation? What things are you doing on a daily basis to help you keep up that motivation and confidence? These types of daily practices, and I teach, you know, meditation, and many of these practices in the work that I do are going to help you get there. So intention plus aligned action. So we can't just sit there and pray. You know, we often get up in that, like, all right, if I ask the universe hard enough, like he's just going to drop on me, or the money's just going to come from the ceiling.
Still gonna be
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, and when you release the limiting beliefs, you have less resistance to take that action. So that's why it's so important. So intention plus action equals manifestation. Important formula there. So if there's one thing that I want to leave you with all of that, it's that you live what you create. And I mean creative here. But you can create what you desire. When I began my journey, I most certainly did not do it alone. And I'm sure you didn't either. I had a lot of fears and skepticism. I always say I'm a skeptic at heart because I am until I try something. I don't just jump on the bandwagon. I wonder with all these different techniques, would they work? How long would they last? How much would it cost? How much time would it take? Could I actually do it? All these fears came up. But at the time that I was in my darkest moment, I knew that I had to make a change if I wanted to get to where I wanted to be. My tagline is stop settling, start living, for a reason, because it's our choice to stop settling, to feel the way we are, and to approach with a new, approach our health, approach our emotions, approach every area of our life with a new perspective. Had I not sought support, I would not be here right now. I really wouldn't. So the problem is, it's a great Einstein quote. For those of you that do know me, I'm a big quote person. I find inspiration in quotes a lot. There's a great Einstein quote that said, we can't solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. And that's the reason that when we're not used to handling the bumps in the road that so often come up, that's why we naturally find ourselves fall back into bad habits. But here's the thing. You need to create, I'm just speaking louder and louder, so hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, we're going to pause for two seconds here. I think they're making margaritas or something.
No, but you are like, thank God you're centered. And you're like,
I'm delivering. All right. Exactly. So here's the thing. In order to change your life path, this is what I learned. You need to change the possibilities that you believe in, right? You need to change your perception of the possibilities. Do you believe that you can make that change? In order to change your perception and possibilities, you need to change your mindset, your subconscious programming. And really, in order to change that, you need a lot of support. We can't just sit there reading books. I mean, you can't just sit there like repeating positive affirmations every day. There's some deep cleaning work that has to be done. And when you can do this, I really do promise you that you will start to feel more motivated, more confident, less anxious, less worried, less stressed out. You'll be able to maintain healthy habits, create them and maintain them. It won't feel like you have to try so hard to be healthy or try so hard to work out. You will naturally start taking care of your body when you can do this work. You'll start to see that negative people in our life, the negative energy just starts to kind of fall away, and you're okay with that. And the most amazing people and opportunities start coming into your life when you need them the most. This has been amazing. Literally, I think about somebody that I need in my business, and it's like they're just there. Somebody appears, and I'm like, I need help for this. And someone's like, I just met this person. It's the exact person that I need. Those types of things start to happen. So I'd like to offer, any of you that are on this, on the Google Hangouts today, as well as anyone here, that if you're interested in really diving deep into this work and learning more about it and actually just experiencing it, because I think that's the true test, I have an amazing half-day workshop coming up January 10th. It's a Sunday. So January 10th is going to be from about 9:30 to 2:30 o'clock, I just said, 2:30 in New York City. And we'll be taking these different techniques and more. So the EFT, the meditation, different types of techniques to help you really break through your blocks, identify specifically what's getting in your way and help you release them in person. And a few of the women that attend, it's women only, by the way, will actually get to participate in hot seats. So you'll get live coaching from me then and there at the event, which is going to be really exciting. And because I love ETT, what I'm going to do right now, I know there's a few of you here, but I'm going to pass this around. So you guys can take one and pass it around. This is more information about the event. I'm just going to quickly read this off to you guys that are on the line. So here's the thing. If you're ready to clear away the stuff that's keeping you from the life that you want and allow your natural motivation and confidence to shine through, this is going to be the secret sauce, essentially. This is going to help you maintain healthy and positive habits, believe in your ability to create lasting change, which is everything, as I mentioned, overcome your challenges so you finally experience success, and attract the right people and opportunities you need to get to where you want to be. So it's a half-day workshop. It's live in person. It's going to be extremely transformational, inspirational. You'll be surrounded by an amazing group of other like-minded women. It will be in New York City, once again on Sunday, January 10th. And for anyone that's interested, this is actually the first time I've been talking about this event, so I'm really excited. The original ticket price is $97, but for today only, it's $67 for anyone that's interested. So those of you that are on the line that are interested, I think Vanessa's getting some questions, and you can also send me an email.
Send an email to.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll honor this. Vanessa will send out an email to the group with more of this information. And I'd love to have you. There's a few other things. For anyone that signs up also, I'm offering the first 5 women private coaching sessions with me. So it's not a consultation, it's an actual private coaching session that you will get with me. And also I have an awesome video series that I just created on using EFT for killing cravings and increasing motivation to work out. So anyone that does sign up, you'll get those bonuses as well. The first 5 women get the private session with me.
Amazing.
And I just want to leave you with this, that what I'm offering here, the reason I'm doing this is because I wish somebody gave me this information. A lot of people ask me, Tina, how long did it take you to kind of get that junk out of the way? We all have junk, and it constantly comes up, and that's why daily practices is important. But the information that I'm sharing, so I've invested a lot of money, and I'm sure many of you have too, is really the best of the best that I feel to be effective. It's a hand that I wish somebody gave to me when I was suffering the most, that intimate level of support to get out of my own way and stay out of my own way. Because when you can do this, your life will dramatically change. Here's what you can expect. Clarity, breakthroughs, feeling like a weight's been lifted off your shoulders, believing in your ability to change your life, actually having a map and knowing what action steps you need to take to succeed, whether it's with your health, your career, your relationships. You'll see the blocks. I'm really good, and I'm going to toot my own horn here, which I don't do very often, but I've been told this, and I believe in this right now, is that I have a very good intuitive sense of helping pinpoint the exact thing that's blocking you and getting that out of the way. Yeah, and it's important, right? Like, this is what's blocking you. Let's get it out of the way so you can move on with your life and experience the health and happiness that you want. So, if you guys are interested, the ladies rather, are you interested? I'd be so excited to have you. We will be sending you the information. Obviously, you fine ladies have it here today. And with that, I will go to some Q&A. I know I gave you guys a lot of information, but we have the recording, so that's amazing. Yes. And if anybody wants this information, also I can send, I guess, an outline of what I discussed here today to anyone that's interested. So.
There's nothing here yet, but I don't know if you guys want to jump in.
Or maybe
you do have something.
So can you elaborate more about the tapping?
Yes, I can. Okay. So this is how it works. Essentially, maybe I'll explain the process and it might be easier. So with tapping, the way you start is you start tapping on your hand. This is one of the energy points to start tapping on, okay? And essentially while you're doing this, it's called the setup statement. You identify, first it's important to identify what's really getting in your way. So it could be a food craving, it could be fear, it could be anger, it could be anything. And in this setup statement, we say, as we're tapping, we say, even though, let's say, I have this fear, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Why do we say that and we repeat it 3 times? Is because when we have a negative emotion or let's say a negative habit, we judge ourselves. In order to move forward, we first have to learn acceptance of what is, right? The longer we fight that, we can't change. So by doing that, we neutralize that effect. And then from there, what we do is, let's say it's fear, okay? or anxiety, whatever it may be. You essentially tap on certain points on your face and on like your upper body while repeating the statement, this fear about something, because when you have an emotion, you don't feel it like in your pinky, right? You feel it in your entire body. It stops you. So by repeating the phrase that's blocking you, the experience, kind of reliving it, or if it's a food craving. So when you have a food craving, you have the craving and then you act on it, right? So, but it's your food cravings are related to emotions, as many of you may know. Food cravings have to do, if you're craving something that's not nutritional imbalance, because you're craving something emotionally. So it all comes back to emotions, which is energy. So as you tap on these certain points that make you feel negative, and you repeat those phrases, you actually begin to release that blocked energy.
So this is a certain spot that you tap, say, for food.
No, so not, there's just a certain sequence, but there's not a certain place, like it's not just here for food. But essentially it's, you know, there's eyebrow, it doesn't matter what side of the eye, under the nose, under the chin, collarbone, under the arm, you couldn't see it, under the arm, kind of where your broad strap is, on top of the head. There are some hand points too, there's even some points on the rest of your body, but those are the basic points that you can use. The great thing about, I work with a practitioner too, because like I mentioned, when you work with somebody, they can see things that you cannot see. I have tried many different types of techniques to help break through lack of motivation, to help feel more positive, to help, you know, break negative habits. And when I experienced EFT, I got certified because I was like, this is amazing. This is really effective and amazing. And it made me feel like my true self again. It made me feel like I can move forward. In combination with some of these other practices, like meditation, you know, other types of practices. So did that kind of answer it? Does it make sense how it works?
Covered more during the workshop?
Yeah, you'll actually experience it too. We'll be tapping. Yeah. So essentially what it does is it releases stress from the body. Why do we do things that we don't want to do? It's because we have a stress response. So what EFT does is it releases stress from the body. And it makes you feel more in control of yourself. It allows for the natural healing of your body and your mind.
Do you also do Reiki?
I don't do Reiki, but I have experienced some of it. I've experienced Reiki where it works and where it hasn't worked. Reiki, from my understanding, is it's transferring energy from somebody else. This is actually using your own energy and helping you to release it. So the work that I love to do is help people feel empowered by their own energy and their own mind and their own body, because our true selves, like I said, know what we need to do. You can literally, once you get in tune with your body, you can literally ask yourself, like, something as simple as red pants or blue pants, and start feeling what the right decision is. Imagine you could, I was an overanalyzer and someone that couldn't make a decision for your life. Imagine what life would be like if you just made a decision and you knew it was right and you were like, bam, I don't think about it twice. Pretty amazing, right? Yeah. So in the workshop, you definitely will experience EFT. It's going to be very hands-on. It's not just me talking to you like it is here. And really, really, the point of it is for you to get out of your own way, get unstuck, really feel confident in yourself, and just stop settling, right? Because that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do now, because, you know, people often ask, what's your why? I just had an interview yesterday. What's your why? And I said, well, I'm done. I'm not going to settle again. Imagine if you didn't give up on yourself and give up on your dreams. So
you mentioned something before about, you know, when we're waiting for something to happen, it kind of like shifts us into that fear. And I know that you know, when you're in a position like you're in, and we are coaches and we guide people, and I feel like we have this perception that what people expect from us, that we have to be together all the time and 100%, and how can she be actually telling me what's best for me if she doesn't have it together herself? And I have found through my years, you know, doing the work that I do with the group and helping women, that people want to connect with hot messes, you know, like, because then it makes you seem more real and more like, oh my God, that actually looks like me when I was losing my shit 2 weeks ago, you know. And I had something like really traumatic happen to me over the summer this year, and I think you and I talked about it a little bit. And I thought I was living my best life, and I was, you know, I met Oprah like don't tell me what to do. Like, you know, like, I know everything. Yeah, I know everything. And it wasn't until that happened that I really said, like, I realized, like, oh my God, I've been bullshitting myself for the past year. Like, I'm talking this talk, but I'm not walking the walk, right? And, you know, when you refer to not settling, it's like, that's where I'm at myself too. And it's like, no pun intended and no offense taken if you know what, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Like, that's where I'm at. Yeah. And, you know, some people can find that very harsh and rude and direct. But I think at the end of the day, we all need some of that in our lives, whether we're getting it from someone else to kind of kick us into gear. Yeah. But we need it mostly, like you said, from ourselves to really stop. Get out of our own way. Get out of our own way. You know, I wrote a blog post a couple of months back that was called the deceitful narrator. Is at the end of the day, it's ourselves. You know, we keep telling ourselves these lies, these stories, and we choose to believe them, right? And that's why we don't get what we want. And to get what we never won, we've got to do what we've never done. So
exactly. Yeah. And that's why two people can be in the exact same situation and perceive it so differently. So anything that proves that it's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it and the perceptions that you're having. And if you find yourself struggling with your perceptions and wanting to break out of it, then get support. Like, I literally I could read, I invested in coaches and mentors, read every self-help book you can imagine, right? But it wasn't until I actually worked with somebody and said, listen, I need help. And that's actually courage. To say you need help is courage. And the other thing is, it's not about never having fear. It's not about never being knocked down. You know, it's not about trying to be perfect, because if anybody tells you they're going to help you never have fear and all this stuff, they're bullshitting you. Because it's not about that. It's not about never having challenges. It's about how you learn to react in the face of them. And when you do feel negativity, I mean, listen, there are days that I walk down the street and I hear myself saying really mean things. But aware, don't judge yourself. Getting rid of judgment is so healing. And acceptance, right? I accept that I feel this way. And sometimes it's okay to stay there. We're human. We're not robots. You know, it's okay to feel shitty sometimes. Yeah.
I also find that, you know, we need more, and this is like the coming out, that what I find in organizing conferences and going to attending these massive conferences where you have, you know, these people who think are gods, give them to earth, you know, place in this person, right? And we get to meet them and connect with them. I just feel like we need more people who are willing to, like you said, take responsibility for their life, but also be able to share it and say, you know what, I've been there too, but you can get out of it. Not doing what I did, but doing what you are able to do to get out. We need more common jokes, just sharing their stories and not being afraid to let us know that, you know what, we're all human and we're all in this together, and it's happened to me, and you know what, you're going to get out of it. You know?
And to be honest, that's why my coaching style is a little bit different than some other coaches, is that I realized it wasn't until I trusted myself that things change. When we continuously find ourselves working people that tell us what to do, but don't teach us how to trust ourselves, we get into messes. Like, that's where you're like, okay, then all of a sudden, like, you know, you take the training wheels off and you keep falling over. But imagine if you learn to just trust yourself. That's what I believe. That's what a coach's his purpose is to make you see the wisdom and the intelligence and the confidence and motivation within yourself. You know, totally agree with you. I don't believe in a magic formula. These techniques I use, I teach many different ones because I want you to experiment and see what works for you. I do believe in the power of the ones that I use, but whatever floats your boat, you know?
But I think that we've been into this magic pill culture. Like, I want you to tell me what to take, tell me what to do, tell me what 3 things to do, you know, the recipe to follow. And at the end of the day, it's entirely up to us to make the changes, to change the situation, to change the conversations that we're having with our children, with our spouses, with our friends. I mean, it's up to us, you know?
And it's also important to understand that you don't have to wait. Like, so you don't have to wait to be happy. It's our choice to be happy now. And like I said, if you're struggling with that, talk to somebody, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coach, whether, you know, it's a group like this. But the journey can actually be as exciting, if not more exciting. Like, it's not the result that should be defining everything. It's not. The result that we want, these things, are actually the side effects of the deeper work. The things that we're going after, the weight loss, the paycheck, the happiness, the not the happiness, the relationship, whatever it may be. Those are just side effects when you do the deeper work. And then all of a sudden you're not struggling so much, that you just feel content and you're able to move on and be empowered with your life. Yeah.
So these are practical tools that we'll be able to.
Oh yeah, it's not just me talking to you. You're literally going to be learning practical tools. You're going to be doing hands-on techniques. You're going to be really, really experiencing the work and walking away with having a greater understanding of what's been blocking you, feeling more empowered to change your life, but also knowing, okay, I get it, and this is what I have to do. These are the practices I can use right now to change my life.
It depends on what's going on with technique.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's a half day, so I hope I'm not just talking to you for that amount of hours, you know. I certainly hope, you know, I like it more when it's a conversational setting anyways, and it's very intimate group.
What I'll do is I'll share it in our private forum
Yeah.
too, and you know, we'll maybe rally the troops and head out there.
That'd be amazing.
Caravan.
Yeah.
I'm one of the first 5.
Amazing. We already have one of the first 5, so
I
2 of the first 5.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that'd be amazing. So I'm really happy to have you guys there. I guess if there's 9 more questions, does anybody want to make any closing statements before we exit the Google Hangout? I'm not sure who's on the line, but I want to thank you for listening to me, listening to the margaritas or whatever it was blending. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Oh, natural juices. There's no margaritas. Sounds good. Thank you so much. We'll be sharing the information for the workshop with you ladies. And also, I will give you information about my website and some free bonuses that I have as well. So my website is www.tinapaymaster.com. And once again, for anyone that does sign up for the workshop, I'll be also sending you guys a free bonus video series on killing your cravings and increasing your motivation to exercise, which, listen, I can use it too at times. So I'll be sending that to you ladies as well. And once again, the first 5 ladies that enroll will get a private session with me, a 1-hour session. So thank you so much. And I guess that will be ending it. All good? All right, so we're going to have a little goodbye. Thank you ladies so much.
She'll have to be a speaker at our next convention.
She knows it. It's on her list. I don't care if you go to...
Hi everyone, thank you for joining. Again, don't forget to register for the Ugly Sweater event on December 18th at Bella Vista Country Club. See you next time. Bye.